Let's move to 3A now, where Concordia gets a rematch with a Lakeland team that they beat a couple of weeks ago at home. Now they travel to Lakeland. But before we started the show, Tom, you said Concordia playing so well right now, they may be the sleeper in 3A.
Yeah, last week Glenn asked me what team would really surprise me if they went really, really far, or kind of a shocker team. And I didn't mention Concordia because, quite honestly, I didn't think they were going to beat Brebeuf. I thought Brebeuf was going to be their measuring stick. They were going to go down to Brebeuf in Indianapolis and get beat, but they didn't. They found a way to win. Concordia is playing its best football right now. They got a great quarterback. They've got some other guys, too, that are playing really well. Concordia is a dark horse to go far in the 3A tournament. If you can win at Brebeuf, then you can beat just about anybody in the state. So do not go to sleep on Concordia. They could be playing deep into November.
Cadets quarterback David Morrison can sling that pigskin, and he's been doing it well. He'll be slinging it down in Muncie at Ball State in the not-too-distant future, committed to the Cardinals. The other side of that bracket, the winner of the Concordia game will take on Belmont-Whitko. That's actually kind of an interesting first-round matchup.
Very competitive game. Whitko shared the TRC with Rochester, which is a nice, solid league. But Belmont plays the much more difficult schedule, much tougher than the TRC, with Belmont being in the NHC. And when the Braves run the ball well and effectively, Homestead can attest to this, they can beat just about anybody. But it's at Whitko. I think Whitko finds a way to win this game, but it's going to be really, really close. It's going to be one of those games, comes down to the final couple of series. If there's a turnover, that could swing the momentum one way or the other. It's going to be a really, really good game. So don't leave early, because it's not going to be determined until the final gun.
If you're looking for interesting storylines in the opening week of 3A sectional play, how about West Noble at Bishop Luers? The Knights went winless during the regular season, but still come in with a 24-game postseason winning streak. And let's not forget, Norwell went winless in the regular season last year, and they went all the way to their sectional championship game. So anything is possible here.
It is. I mean, I'm stunned to have this conversation that West Noble at 3-6, Vegas might have them favored slightly over Bishop Luers, but Bishop Luers is at home, and obviously Bishop Luers has played a much more difficult schedule than West Noble has. I think that actually Bishop Luers gets their first win of the season, and they do it convincingly over West Noble. I just don't see how playing in the NECC equates to playing in the SAC. I think the records are not a fair measuring stick of how good both of these programs are. I think Luers gets their first win of the season pretty easily.
And, of course, if Luers should advance, they take on a stiff opponent either way, and it's a game that you already said you're going to be at.
Yeah, Garrett and Heritage. Last week, Garrett had Heritage down 21-0. Heritage runs back 26 unanswered points to steal the victory in Garrett. This week, Heritage is at home, and so Garrett has to be mad. They have to be embarrassed, and they have to just want revenge on the Patriots this week. But it's going to be tougher because it's at Heritage. But, these two teams, obviously a very equal game. Can Garrett jump out to an early lead again and actually keep them down? I'll find out, because I'm going to be there.
Alrighty. Well, in 2A, Cherubusco, as we said, enters the postseason with its tail between its legs right now. They've lost back-to-back games. Is that bad news for Eastside in the first round?
Well, I think it might be bad news for Cherubusco, because not only do they have 2 consecutive losses going into the tournament, Eastside has 3 consecutive wins. And Mike Eschbach does a really nice job with the Blazers. I know when people look at the Eastside's 4-5 and Busco's 7-2, so Busco should be favored, and they're at home, they will be favored. But this is not a pushover game. I think Eastside is very, very capable of giving Busco everything that they want. And I would not be stunned if I get back into the office Friday night and I hear that Eastside stole that victory somehow. But I do think Busco ends up righting the ship a little bit, playing much better run defense. They will run the ball effectively against Eastside, and I think they'll end up getting the win. But don't be shocked at all if the Blazers figure out a way to win this game.
Well, you mentioned run defense. That could be key for Central Noble, who opens sectional play with Woodland. And when you play the Warriors, you know you're getting a heavy dose of Jalen Bennett.
Bennett. Yeah, Jalen Bennett, really, really good player. Woodland's kind of been an under-the-radar team. Like I said earlier, they played Leo better than anybody else did this year. I think Woodland's a really good team, and Cherubusco had to have been salivating all year when Bishop Luers got moved up to 3A and out of that sectional. But guess what? They're just replaced with a really, really tough Woodland team. I'm really anxiously awaiting that Woodland-Busco matchup, if indeed Busco can get by Eastside, because I think that's going to be just a great game. But I think Woodland is a really special team this year. I think they're the favorite in this sectional. I don't think they have any trouble whatsoever with 1-8 Central Noble.
A Busco-Woodland game might also be the fastest high school football game ever played, with, I'd imagine, no more than 8 passes played over the course of that one. Moving to 1A now, I think Adams Central opens with North Miami. That should be an interesting game. I think Adams Central has to feel that they might be able to do a little bit of damage here come the postseason.
Well, here's the deal. My wife teaches in North Miami. My kids go to North Miami. My nephew, Casey Conley, is a slot receiver for North Miami. But I got bad news for all of them. It ain't happening this week. Adams Central and Southwood are the 2 favorites in this sectional. Adams Central, they're much better than their 5-4 record indicates, because they play the likes of Garrett, Heritage, Leo, Woodland. I mean, they play a tough schedule compared to most Class A programs. And so Adams Central is a really good program. They're going to roll right over North Miami. Mark Lefevre left Southern Wells after last year to go back to his alma mater at North Miami. It's going to take him a few years to get that program going, because they really took a step back this year. Adams Central should win that game. A great matchup is going to be South Adams at Northfield. 2 really competitive programs. They're 2-6 and 3, or 2-7 and 3-6. But I think that playing in the ACAC really has its benefits once you get out of that league in the Class A schedule. So I think South Adams will be able to prevail on that. Really need to pay attention to Southwood. They have a winning culture within their athletic program. John Burris at the basketball program does a great job. A lot of those kids play basketball and football, and that winning culture is spread over to the football program. And they're 6-3 this year. They're going to have a pretty easy time with 2-7 Fremont. So ultimately, I think it's going to be Southwood and Adams Central battling it out.
Tom Davis, he's an encyclopedia. We've gone over a ton of games already. Any others that we haven't hit on that jump out to you? I know that we've covered a ton.
We've covered a ton, and, I hate to look ahead, but, boy, we saw the Wayne Snyder matchup last Saturday night. I'm looking forward to Wayne Snyder a week from now, too. I think that's going to be just a great game. But, it'll be really interesting, because the teams that have struggled can make this a brand-new season. We saw Norwell do it last year, like you mentioned, and so it's going to be fascinating. This has been a crazy, whacked-out year. And we've never known what's going to happen Friday night to Friday night. So I'm looking forward to this Friday night to see what shockers we have to discuss next week.
6A, 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A all get going on Friday. 5A picks up the slack the following week. We'll have a preview of that plus recap from week 1 of everybody else coming up next week. He's Tom Davis. I'm Joe Whalen. We'll see you next time.